Alright guys, another video on the Interceptor, and this one is actually about the Interceptor. Something I had planned for a long time, but I couldn't make it as I wasn't getting to ride the Interceptor much. So yeah, this is about the 5 things I like about the Interceptor 650, the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. And soon after this, there'll be another video about the 5 things that I don't like about the Interceptor 650. So let's get started with the things I like. Number 1 is the looks. So yeah, it's a very clean, minimalistic, classic look, right? And nowadays, I mean, you may say it's just a standard motorcycle look, and yes, it is a standard motorcycle look. You know, it's a look from an era before you had specialized classes of motorcycling, like sport bikes, adventure bikes, or dual sport. I mean, of course, it's a modern bike, but the design, the looks, that's totally from that old era. I think from the 70s, right? When the original Interceptor came out from Royal Enfield. So, you know, it doesn't look like a spaceship on wheels like many of the modern bikes do. Nothing wrong with that. I like those looks too, for some of them. But, you know, an authentic, original motorcycle look like this one, or a Bonneville, or even the Royal Enfield Bullets, or Classic, or whatever you call them now, that never fails. That's like a timeless look, you know. It looks like how a proper motorcycle should look like, and nobody can argue with that. It's the original motorcycle look. Okay, maybe not the original. There were some designs from even earlier that looked quite a bit different, more like bicycles, right? But you know what I mean, right? So this look really works for me. I really like this. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 would be the versatility of the motorcycle. Now, what you get from the factory is a very basic motorcycle. It has all the bare necessities of a motorcycle, of course, the frame, the tank, the engine, seat, and so on. So you can use it for a lot of things. I mean, you can further customize it heavily or lightly, depending on your needs. For example, you can use it for touring with some minor modifications, like I have done, to carry luggage. You know, I have a Hepco and Becker top case and soft bag carrying rails, what you call saddle stays. So, and you can also modify the seat, the handlebars, like also I have done So it's heavily customizable to do what you want it to do. And also, if you remember, with these old British twin designs, they are also often converted to scramblers, so they can do a good amount of off-roading as well. So that's what I mean by the versatility. And you can almost use it like an all-rounder, you know. You can use it for commutes, for touring to an extent. Yeah, there are some quirks to it, and I'll talk about that later in the negatives, the dislikes video. But it can do it if you're really keen on it. And a bit of off-roading, bad roading, whatever you call that. I mean, we need that in India, you know, some bad roads capability. So that's there too, even in stock form, without any modifications. And some further modifications to the suspension, the tires, that can improve it even further. So let's move on to number 3, shall we? And that would be the engine. Now this is really a gem of an engine. The 650cc parallel twin, 270-degree crank. I mean, for a first version, you know, this is Royal Enfield, or the modern Royal Enfield's first attempt at a parallel twin. I'm saying modern Royal Enfield, so I don't mean the older ones from the 70s or whenever. So yeah, for a first attempt, it's really a great result. Now this engine, for my liking, it produces a little less power than, you know, what I would have liked, but that's a different thing. For what it is, for what it does, you know, it's a great engine. I mean, the sound is great, if that matters to you. It looks good too, if you look at it from the sides. And even without its, or even with its low power and torque figures, you know, it performs quite well actually. I mean, it would not leave you dissatisfied, is what I would like to say. Even if you're somebody coming from a bigger motorcycle, a more powerful motorcycle, you would not find this to be underpowered. It does the job pretty well. When I got this bike, I was not expecting the engine to behave so well. I was quite impressed actually. And that was when I was coming from a Harley Sportster, the 883. It doesn't behave like a modern engine, which kind of gives it the character, but at the same time, you know, it doesn't have the the shortcomings of an older design. It has a very good torque spread. It spins up quite freely, and it sounds great too, even with a stock exhaust. It's a little muted, yes, but it still sounds good. So that was number 3, the engine. And number 4 would be the simplicity of everything on this bike. It is a modern classic in a way, but if you look at other modern classics like the Triumph Bonnevilles, they're not that simple in their design, in their technical design, I mean. This one, on the other hand, everything, yes, it has the bare minimum necessities of a modern bike, like ABS, what else, semi-digital instrument cluster, but other than that, it's quite simple. The engine, you can do most of the maintenance yourself. Yes, because of its simplicity and relatively older design, it needs valve clearance checks quite often. It needs one after the initial break-in period at 1,000 kilometers or so, and another one, every other service, which is around 10,000 kilometers, it needs a valve clearance check. But fortunately, it's quite simple to do, and you can do it yourself with the right tools. But everything on this bike is quite accessible. You don't have to go behind fairings to reach things. Everything is relatively easy to access, except the battery. But yeah, that you can manage, when you need to. So yeah, it's easy to maintain. That's what I really meant by the simplicity. You can figure out things on your own and take care of it on your own for the most part. So that was number 4. So coming up to number 5 then, that would be the price. Of course, you're getting a 650cc modern classic parallel twin motorcycle, almost the same as a Bonneville, but not quite. Yeah. So, but the price, guys, especially in India, it's really affordable. And that's something, it's quite common on our streets nowadays, right? And a lot of people who buy these bikes, they're not even like motorcycling enthusiasts. They just want something a little powerful, can afford this price, so that they just get it. So a lot of people who ride these bikes, unfortunately, they don't realize the value that they're getting. I think. I could be wrong. A lot of people are there who do realize that, but I think a lot of people are there who don't. But anyway, I'm digressing. So what I mean is, it's really affordable, and even in other countries, I think it's for what you're getting, it's really good value. I'm not just considering the Indian market, the global market. What else can you get with similar character for a similar price? Yeah, you have the Moto Guzzi's. They are not quite the same. They are longitudinally mounted V-twins, but yeah, I think you can only think of the Triumph And those are quite a bit more, right? Of course, you get a bigger engine too. You get 900cc engines with those, or bigger. So it's a great value proposition in terms of its price and what you're getting. So that was my final like about the motorcycle. 5 things: the styling, the looks, the versatility, the engine, the simplicity, and finally the price. So alright then, that's all for this video, and in the next video I'll talk about 5 things that I don't like about this motorcycle. So look out for that one.